input and a variety of other topics. Without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started here with our presenters. If you saw that our email today, then you know that we're going to be hearing from, better said, our curriculum managers and curriculum director. They will be talking about some of their favorite tools and resources and the things that they're maybe even less well known, tips and tricks to help our users get the most out of their experience with Voces. So I'll introduce the team real quick. We have Erin Almiranti, who is our curriculum director, Hannah Meineke, who is a curriculum manager, Cal Powers, curriculum manager, and Melissa Ferguson will be joining us as well at some point. Yeah, without further ado, I'll give you the floor, Erin, if you want to get started, or anyone else. I'm not sure exactly what order you want to go in, but feel free to go ahead and share your screen.
Well, I just wanted to introduce a little bit more Hannah and Cal while they're here, and then I'll mention some stuff about Melissa when she gets on. She just chatted saying that her computer decided to restart.
I know.
But I just wanted to say that Hannah is our curriculum manager that's focused on our EFL title, which she'll be mentioning a bit tonight. And she's been working here for about, I think it's been about 6 months or more. 9 months?
9 months, I think.
Yeah, 9 months. But before that, she worked for us as a contractor, a freelancer, and she helped just put together a lot of different things over the, almost year and a half that she's been working with us. So yeah, that's Hannah. And she also is from the Michigan, like many of us. And then Cal is from Texas, and he started about 6 months ago or more. Gosh, I don't know.
I said 6 months in a meeting the other day, and I counted. It's actually 8 months. So
oh, nice.
Time
Okay.
flies.
Yeah, you were right after Hannah. And Cal's been working on the elementary CI title or series. Actually, it's 2 titles that's coming out soon, the first one, and it's just looking amazing. And so yeah, he's been doing that. He's also been organizing a lot of our lives for us with amazing spreadsheets, which we'll probably refer to as well a little bit later. And then Melissa, yeah, Melissa, your screen says Hannah for some reason.
It does. Well, you really freaked me out when you came into the call, because I was like, did I log in on my other computer too or something?
Yeah,
I don't know why it's doing that. I'm just a Hannah wannabe today, I guess. That's so weird.
So despite appearances, that is Melissa or Hannah too. And Melissa, similar to Hannah, has been working for us for longer than first as a freelancer, and then came on full time around just after Christmas, actually, so somewhat recently. And she's been working on the introductory French title, which will mirror our introductory Spanish title. And we're really excited about that. And she's also just done a ton of different updates, which we'll be talking about today too. So that's just a little bit more in-depth intro. And I'll just start us out by, I just want to show you guys something kind of simple, but very often overlooked. So I'm going to share my screen. I didn't really prepare my crazy, I have always way too many tabs open. Okay. So I just wanted to point out one of my favorite things that, is overlooked a lot is the add-ons. So we have, as you guys know, most likely, a novel or 2 in every title, especially in the Our Story series. And so those are there for teachers to use and incorporate into their yearly plans. But we also have these additional digital readers, and they're super affordable, $25, and that will just add them right into one or all of your titles that you have. And I added a few to my title earlier today, so I'll show you. But it adds it seamlessly. They all have audio, activities, all that cool stuff. And then you can assign it to your students and read it with them, etc. And my favorite one, which is the one I just wanted to give you guys a glimpse of, is Pintando con las Manos by Rachel Emery. And this is a book she wrote and illustrated too. And she sells it on Amazon, I believe, and we explain that in the intro part of it. but she allowed us to include it here as an add-on. And then we created a video that's like of each chapter being read by a native speaker. And I don't think I chose audio, so you won't hear it, but it has like the illustrations and some special effects built into it. So it's, you know, kind of like turned into a video, of course, that students can watch, but then it's also there on the page for students to read. And then there are activities with it. So it's just cool. I just wanted to kind of like let you guys know that that's there and encourage you to explore them if you're looking for like additional novels to use with your students. So what are some of your guys' favorite things?
I have a
wants to go
good
next?
transition from yours. My thing one of the things I wanted to share was the new story videos in in Primaria. Let me show you that. So in our story series, we have stories throughout each unit, and usually in most books, they are just the audio of the story being read by native speakers, along with a few illustrations. And so as I've been working on Primaria Uno, this is for our youngest learners. So I really wanted to get a lot of really cool, engaging illustrations created. So let me show you this story, Augustina y las Medialunas, Augustina and the Croissants. So this is a story about these little animal creatures, and they get to guess how many croissants are in this special bag the teacher has. It's very cute, but the story is separated into each chunk, so you can listen to the story chunk by chunk as you introduce it to your students. But then I thought, how can I use these illustrations that are so phenomenal even more and get more out of them? So I played around and made a video presentation for each story that uses the illustrations and the audios that we had the native speakers make. And I added in little sound effects of, like, for this story, since they're each different animals, I added in little animal sounds and other background noises to help immerse your learners in the situation as they're listening to the story. So when it says they stand up and walk to the front of the class, you hear footsteps walking, and as each character.
El águila se llama Agustina.
Can you hear that?
Agustina va a la escuela. Agustina tiene 5 amigos en la escuela. La maestra entra a clase. Tiene una bolsa. Tengo una bolsa.
Okay, so I won't keep playing the whole video, but as you can see, it's like just little bits here and there of like immersing your students while they're listening to this fun story, which is just another great way to get more listening practice and engagement with the stories. And it's so exciting to see the resource that Erin just shared has a video version as well. So this is exciting to see this now on a bigger scale, not just some additional resources, but every story in Primaria will have this video. And eventually we will start adding these kinds of story videos to our entire Nuestra Historia series. So exciting for the future to see these videos in all the books.
Okay, that was going to be my question, if it's going to be in the Notre Store 1 and 2.
Eventually, we're trying to work our way backwards and add them back into all the books that have stories.
Gotcha.
Hannah or Melissa, would you like to go next and share something that you've been excited about?
Well, I guess I can talk a little bit about my project that I've been working on, and it's not.
Absolutely. I hope I've got everything pulled up. My computer.
Uh-oh.
I think we're having some lag / tech issues.
Yeah, some Melissa issues.
Yeah.
Melissa, do you want to maybe leave the call and come back? Because
Yeah, I'll do that.
all right.
Yep.
Okay, so while she gets her stuff figured out, I'm just going to go ahead and share a little bit about what I've been working on. And it's not so much one tiny thing as it is the entire curriculum that I've been working on. So for those who don't know, we recently released a new title for EFL classes. So that's primarily targeted towards English classes in South and Central America. But it might be applicable to anyone teaching English as a second language in North America, who have a lot of like native Spanish speakers in the classroom. So one thing I'll point out is that we do have an entirely separate website for this title. And I'll just, if I can find the chat again, yeah, I'll just drop that in there so everyone can see it. But it's basically, it's very familiar. It's basically the Voces site copied one more time. But I have it open over here. So it's called Our Storyscape, English as a Foreign Language. And the structure of the book is similar in the Our Story series, in that we do have a series of different stories to introduce vocabulary, important structures, and we do weave in culture and connections, much like the extra section in the Our Story series. So I'll just go and, poke through a little bit, just picking out my favorite story in the book. So it's very similar, and you'll see that we have the English vocabulary with the Spanish translations, and then Spanish cover overs, much like the Our Story series. Each unit features one or two different countries from the English-speaking world, so it's different from our traditional ESL series in that, our ESL series is based on America, the USA, but here we try to focus on different countries like the UK, Australia, India, and even our final unit is based on Trinidad and Tobago. Just highlighting the different places the English is spread throughout the world. And we're hoping that this series really takes off and we'll be able to expand to meet the different needs of EFL and ESL teachers. And yeah, I don't think I have anything else to add on to that without, going through and reading each story along with you, but some of them are really cute and fun. So you'll just have to add it to your account and take a look through a little trial of ESL. So, yeah.
Hey, Hannah, Bev says that she is from the Caribbean, and she's asking if we could maybe pull up one of like the Trinidad story.
Yeah, so
would that be
actually,
possible?
yeah, did I stop? No, I'm still screen sharing, okay. So actually the entire unit 6 is about Trinidad and Tobago. My lead content writer on this, Rebecca Tomstedt, she really helped formulate everything that goes into this unit. So each story, let me just see, I think this one's my favorite one in unit 6. So it's about a young girl who tries to make a traditional chow for her mother to eat when she gets home, but it doesn't go quite right, and she ends up spilling it on the dog.
Is that plantain? That looks kind of like plantains.
In the story, I think she tries to use oranges, but I hear you can use any kind of fruit you want to make chow. So,
Okay. Nice.
So yeah, all the stories in actually the first one isn't, but the rest of them are based in Trinidad. And then we also have different, we have like a little fun fact section about, you know, the different food culture things and in Trinidad, just so students can get an idea of, you know, what it might be like to live there or talk to someone who is from this country. We also have a map section kind of highlighting, you know, here's the neighboring countries, and then here it is nice and big, so you can really get an idea of everything that's going on. So yeah, I think that's it. I'm gonna stop sharing. Is Melissa back?
I am back. It still says that I'm you, Hannah. I don't know what's going on. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I think I'm going to leave my video off since I was lagging before. I don't want to risk that happening again. So I'm going to leave my video off and I'll start sharing my screen in a second here. Okay, and it's not on the one that I want it to be on, so let me switch that real quick. All right, so one thing that I'm super excited about is the surveys feature that we have in Voces. So we just added, oh, it says my internet connection is unstable. Sorry if I'm breaking up. We just added some surveys into French 2 that use the vocabulary from the entire chapter. So it's a really great way to review with students. So the survey questions are all multiple choice. So students can go through and just choose, I'm just kind of randomly choosing some answers here. But when your students choose the answers, yes, let's see. Slowly. Okay, yes. It gives you a breakdown of how many people answered those particular questions. Right now, my chart's all blue because my response is the only one in. But if there were more responses in, you'd have it broken up into different amounts of who answered which one of these questions. So this is a really great way to get to know your students better and build some relationships with them, because you can find out some information about your students, stuff that you can remember and ask them about later, and get some really good conversation going in the classroom. How many people answered this? How many people answered this? Which one had more responses? You can even follow up with individual students and ask them, so, you know, follow-up questions like, who do you go with on a walk with, or, you know, things like that, anything that comes up into your mind. So these are made for you, and these are in French too, but you could actually make any of these yourself. So I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. So if I wanted to edit this page down at the bottom, maybe. Okay, so if I wanted to make a new section on this, it would be multiple choice. So you just choose the multiple choice on there, and then you're going to click this box right here that says make this section a survey. And then when you do that, it's going to make it so it's not right or wrong answers, but the students can answer with any answer, and then it'll tabulate on your account what the correct answers, or what the tabulated answers are, so that you can look at those results and have some sort of a survey with your students. So super exciting. I think this will be great for our CI titles. If you're using that, you could use it with the PQA questions to get some more conversation going around those. But they also would be really good, like is in French too, with any of our more traditional titles, just to get some extra repetition and some meaningful conversation going around the vocabulary of the unit. So yeah, I think that's pretty exciting. So I'm going to stop sharing.
Yeah, I'm so excited about that. And I love the survey feature. I feel like it's just a great way to engage with students. Like, you can use it after a story. You could have them, like, you know, basically report back, like, do you like the story or do you not like the story? And then talk about the findings, you know, like, or maybe a little bit more complicated question, but what was that? Yeah, they're available in every title. So, and it's just like the multiple choice activity type, like Melissa was showing, but you just select the make this a survey when you create it. And then again, it won't like have a right or wrong answer, and it will just sort of like tabulate all the different responses from students and show it in that pie chart. So kind of similarly, I wanted to just show you guys, you may already know, but some of you may not, but show you guys some of the features in the assignment wizard that you can use with interpersonal speaking activities. So this is just like a little like soft announcement for this, but if you haven't heard yet, a teacher who uses the Our Story series, Alan Lodge from Massachusetts, is finishing up a book, like a physical book, and it will be electronic, that is a guide to using the Our Story series for all the languages, all the levels. And she's just a remarkable teacher that uses a ton of imagination and creativity and know how to take and shape our story and use it with her students. And so she's sharing all of her great ideas and insights in this guide. And within that guide, I wrote 2 chapters, one on the platform itself, and then another with like different scenarios or like ways that you can use the platform with the content. So one thing I touch on in that chapter is how you can, use any of the interpersonal speaking activities that we have already created in any of our titles. I mean, they're in the grammar-based and the CI. They're like the type that have the students like listen to a question and then answer it. So you can take any of these and you can of course edit them, and you can also create your own. So like that's just something that you can kind of keep in mind. But once you have that interpersonal speaking activity to assign, you can really like use the wizard to create a very authentic experience for your students, no matter where they do it, and an experience that keeps them from cheating. Not that they would ever want to do that. So let me just show you how. So you go to your interpersonal speaking activity, one that you edited or one of ours, and I was about to edit it, and you click on assignments, and you go through the same, the typical steps to assign a page. So I'm going to create a new assignment. I'm going to select current page. I'll just choose my period 5 and 6 and finish. And then I'm not going to create a folder for it, but I could. And then I'm not even going to deal with the due dates, but you could do that too. And then once you get to this part, this is where you can really select like parameters to create that more authentic experience. So first off, you can apply a recording limit, which just makes it so that they only have one time to record. So it's like a one shot and that's all you got. So they would still be able to listen to the audio as many times as they wanted. And they could, in theory, like type out their answer in Google Translate and like have it there to read. And I'm just saying this because I was a student once and I may have, considered doing stuff like that. But they would only have one time to record. So it keeps it a little bit authentic. But what can really like increase the authenticity is to automate it. And Chris did this because when we were creating, I think it was actually before we got to the AP, but when we were creating these interpersonal speaking activities, they're based on the AP interpersonal task. And this is, on the AP exam, it's automated similar to how it is in Voces. And so what this now creates is a situation where the student goes to that page and they're told that this is like, that they're going to like start the sequence. And once they start, they can't stop. And so when they're ready, they say begin. And what happens is that first audio plays. And then when that audio ends, the recording automatically starts. So they have to respond. And they can't like re-listen to the audio, or they can't really stop the sequence. So then they have to respond, and they don't have time to do anything on Google Translate. And then when they press stop, they're given a 5-second countdown, and then the next audio plays automatically, and then it continues. So if you use these two in conjunction with each other, and if you want to really like make sure that they don't do any kind of like searching for any answers, which I don't think they could with that, but you could prevent them from leaving as well, just like as an added security, then you can really create a situation where your students have a conversation, with yourself if you created the assignment, from scratch, or with a native speaker if you use one of ours, similar to what many teachers, do in class or like out in the hall over a series of like 2 or 3 days, and to get that interpersonal speaking experience in. But with Voces, you can do it as homework, and you can trust that the students aren't like cheating. I hate saying that they ever would, but I'm just, to be honest, they might. So So yeah, that's like a really great way to use the assignment wizard. And then I also just wanted to drop in the chat 2 other videos, and I'll do this when I stop talking, but just 2 other videos I made that you could just like, you know, keep on your own and watch later. But one is how to create, assign, and grade digital exit tickets within the platform using the editor and the assignment wizard, etc. And the other one is how to repurpose PQAs, or like the personal questions that you see with all the short stories like here, and how you can repurpose these questions and create a reading and writing assignment with them, or even a listening and speaking assignment if you wanted to like put it on its own page and create it, like make it something that you can assign for students to do outside of class. So I'll drop those links into the chat so you guys can check them out. Who wants to go next?
I can go. So I just realized that I'm glad that Ollie, Hannah, Aaron, and Melissa are talking about things y'all can do in your books right now and how you can use certain features. I feel like I misunderstood the assignment to a bit because both of mine are about future upcoming cool things. So this the second thing I want to talk about is Primaria Uno. Let me show you. Okay, there we go. So like Aaron said, Primaria Uno will be available pretty soon this spring. We're about to get it all wrapped up and ready for testing. So that'll be available really soon. So as I'm doing all these last things, wrapping up the project, I'm just really proud of the whole project overall, and all of the wonderful things that all of the people on the team have contributed, including Melissa. She wrote all the stories and did an amazing job. And so as I have been going through, I'm just so proud of seeing how much is represented in this book. And I wanted to show off a little bit of that to show what is being offered. Okay, am I still in Zoom? Y'all just disappeared.
I'm sorry, I was still sharing my screen.
Oh, okay.
I think we see yours now.
Okay. Okay, cool. I was like, my internet just crashed. Oh, great. So as I'm noticing all of this stuff that's represented in the book, I wanted to show it off a little bit so you can see how much is jam-packed into this Primaria book that you can show your students. So one thing that's really cool is all 21 Spanish-speaking countries are represented in this book. So in the introductory section, you can go to the teacher resources, and I've created a page called Title by Country. It looks a little weird formatted right now. We're still, Chris is making the new platform, so it looks a little different than it will eventually, but you can get the idea that each country has its own little box and a hyperlinked link to the different materials we have on that country. So if you're doing a specific country of focus, you can come to this page and say, you know what, it doesn't really matter what the theme is of the unit. I just really need to do a story about Colombia. We're learning about Colombia. So you can come here, say, oh, look, I have this one story about Colombia. I have an article about Colombia, 2 photo activities. And so you can search through the materials we have in this book by title, which I think is really a cool affordance of this book. And then another fun thing, which you saw in the video earlier, the stories, some stories have animals and some stories have people, but all of these stories that have animals, all of the animals in the story are native animals to that country of focus. So all of these animals are indigenous to Argentina. Let me show you another unit that has, that one's a human, this one. This story's in the Dominican Republic. So we have a hummingbird, iguana, an owl, a peccary. So every story that has animals is another opportunity to get into like cross-curriculum discussions about like science and biology and which animals live where and what environments. So that is another thing. I love animals, so it's very fun to work on this book. And also I got to have fun making all of their names alliterative with the animals. So this is Ignacia the iguana, Chewy el colibri. So it's always alliterative. I have to brag. My favorite is Chila la chinchilla chilena. That title of that story gets stuck in my head like a little song, and I sing it to myself all the time. Chila la chinchilla chilena. It's so catchy. And then, okay, across, outside of that, of the Spanish representation of the different countries, there's also just different cultures represented throughout the book. There's indigenous people and different religious groups represented. There's people that wear hijabs in the story. There's different body types as well represented throughout the whole book. We have characters that use wheelchairs, that use crutches. We have a story about a colorblind bat, and it's this whole story. I can show you that. Oh, it's so cute. I think it's colors and clothing. It is Marcel el Murciélago. He is a colorblind bat from Puerto Rico, and he has magical glasses that let him see color. And so when he puts on his magical glasses, he can see the fruit that he's eating in the color that it is. So that's just another representation we have. And with Melissa's wonderful stories, they're not just like frivolous stories that don't really mean anything. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're just fun and like just a fun little goofy story, but sometimes they have real life lessons to be learned from the stories that can really impact the lessons that you're teaching in your classroom more than just Spanish. Or actually teaching things like, let me look at my list, how to be a good friend, how to be a good sport. Like we have 2 stories about where kids are losing and they have to come to terms with not winning. We have a story about a little frog who learns to love her brown skin. We have stories about expression via clothing, intercultural exploration and learning about each other's cultures. We have a story about adoption. We have a story about a little girl getting lost in public, using your imagination and learning to love yourself. So all these really cool sub themes that are really pertinent to the age group of elementary students are kind of woven in throughout the stories in the book. And I just am so proud of that. And Melissa, thank you for your hard work on that as well.
You're welcome, Cal. They were fun to write.
Yeah, very fun project to work on.
So I guess I'll go ahead and share next, looking at a new curriculum as well. Maybe not. Hannah, maybe you should go. My computer is giving me the hardest time tonight, and I'll try getting things ready. Sorry about that.
Okay. Well, at least you're Melissa now.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. Once I just have a quick, small little thing to share. So recently, when I was working, we did a separate webinar series for our Storyscape about the different games available in Voces. And, you know, I was looking at them. I never really played them very much myself. And then I really thought about our one game, Story Shuffle, that I think is really applicable for anyone using the Our Story series. So for example, in any given unit of Notre Histoire or Nuestra Historia, at the very end, there is, you know, you prompt your students, okay, we've done all this work with all these different stories. Now you go ahead, write your own original story. Now, if from the perspective of a student myself, if my teacher gave me this, like assigned this page, said, okay, go do it, I might not come up with something right away. I'm, you know, a blank slate, there's no thoughts in my head. So to warm them up a little bit before you even, you know, get them writing their own stories, you can have them play around with Story Shuffle, which I'm not going to demonstrate it here in the French one because I'm just going to go to my own textbook, ESL, so that it's all in English and that we can all understand how it works. But if you've never used it before, you just go in, I'm going to choose a single player game. You can choose the current chapter or all previous chapters. You can even write your own set of prompts, but basically it just pulls from the vocabulary that's present, that's already there within the unit, and it prompts students to just start writing. So I don't even know what chapter we're in. We're just gonna go ahead and start. So spicy, what does that make me think? Today I ate spicy pepper. So I chose 5 prompts. It's gonna give me 5. I'm gonna write a little story based off of that. It was too spicy, so I tried to eat some bread to make it better. It didn't work. I shouted because it was so spicy. Ouch. I wish I had eaten a salty pepper instead. That doesn't really make sense, but you know, maybe there are salty peppers out there. So I think this will be the last one. That pepper was really gross. I don't recommend. And there's my whole story. So you can, you know, if you want your students to start writing their own stories, you can assign them this game. Yeah, Erin says you can do this as a class. You can, you know, one student starts off with a prompt and then the next student gets the next one. And then you've created a story together just using this game, Spicy Peppers. And then once your students have written these stories, you can then go into the game yourself and read them. You can even print them out. You could make little zines together of your silly stories. Like there's so many things you can do with just this one game in the game center.
Can I interrupt really quick? Once you have students who do it and you go in as a teacher, you know, into this game, you'll see their stories and you'll be able to edit them. Like that's an option in case they make a lot of like mistakes, you know, and that, but yet have a good story and you want to share it with other students, because then that's the next thing. Like you can actually mark stories that are kind of pushed out to the other people in the class. So that could be like, you know, you can control that. And then once you have a few, you could even have students like go into story, what is it called again?
Story shuffle.
Yeah, story shuffle, sorry. And have them read the stories that are there. So it does have like so much potential. It's such a cool game. We created it a long time ago. And you know, I think it works a little bit better at the higher levels just because it does need, you know, like decent amount of language. But if you did it as a class or a group, I think even lower levels could do it. I'm going to show introductory French before we run out of time. Because
Erin, do you want me to show it? I think I've got everything sorted out finally.
Okay, yeah. If you
Okay.
can.
All right. Yeah, finally got it sorted out. The computer had to restart before we started, and I don't know, it's been on the fritz ever since. All right, so working on introductory French, and this is super awesome because it's a perfect middle school text, so great for middle school students. It's got a completely manageable amount of vocabulary that is focused a lot on first and second person. So it's really good for just getting students started on having really simple conversations. Do you this? Yes, I do. No, I don't. Really simple conversations with students. Great pictures throughout to show all kinds of aspects of the French speaking world, not just France itself, but like all over, anything Francophone as well. We have some great video content. We've got these really short videos that are made by Amy Sylveston. If you've used the Notre Soir, you've seen some of her stuff. She's awesome. So she's made us some little videos as well. And we also partnered up with French with Mr. Innes, and he creates his own videos that are super, like they're quirky, they're really engaging. funny, and just another great way for students to get more repetitions of the vocabulary. And we're currently working on putting together some video activities to go along with these. So you will be seeing some activities to go along to reinforce what the students have learned in the videos. We have some great panoramas as well, again, so that your students can see all kinds of aspects of the French speaking world. So you've got the panoramas, which are amazing. And then of course we have our authentic resources. A lot of the chapters have two, which usually one is a video, so that students can get some extra hearing practice, see some authentic videos that French speakers would watch. And then there's also some real things to read, very simple text, so that students can get the most out of it and exercise the reading skills as well. So really excited about our introductory French. I think it's great that we're finally adding a middle school text, and I'm really excited to get that done.
Thank you so much, Melissa. That was perfect. And your computer, lied, so that was perfect.
Finally.
And it's looking so good. Some of these titles, like, I don't go in very often, and so just seeing them here, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. I love seeing it come together. And really all like the EFL, the elementary, and the introductory French are they're looking just amazing. So great job, you guys. Does anyone have any questions before we finish up?
Yes, so with the new subscription, I think we don't have to choose books anymore. We get access to
You
all
can get,
levels.
yep. Like I'm basically, if you want all levels, you can have all levels. I think we'll have a place where you as a teacher can just select which ones you see, so you won't be like overwhelmed if you don't want to be.
Okay.
But yeah, that's going to be like the new pricing structure, and that's actually like what's so cool about like if there's a cool story in the elementary Spanish title that you want to share with your high schoolers because it's just so cool, like so cute and fun to read, you can do that.
So it's going to be by subject. So like I'm French.
Mhm.
Would I see Spanish?
Oh, you'll be able to choose. So you won't
Okay.
see anything you don't want to see. But
Oh,
if you
okay.
wanted to see the introductory French, for
Okay.
instance, then you
Okay.
could. So
Okay.
yeah, it really does like open up so much and makes all of our new additions even like more exciting.
Hi, I have a question too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm teaching adults, and I just don't know how appropriate this would be for them. I mean, I don't have to do testing or anything like that. It's just something private. So
What level?
adults, I've only got 5 students, and 3 of them are advanced and 2 of them are intermediate. So
Oh.
it's a little difficult.
Well, in
But I
a
do
Spanish
my
or
best.
French?
It's French.
Okay, well, I would recommend, and I'm not sure what you have access to now, but I would highly recommend Notre Histoire 3 and 4. And just having them read stories and complete the comprehension activities.
Okay.
Because
That's what I've been doing all
Yeah.
along. Is I admit, we had a subscription to DigiLingua. I hope I have a right to mention other, and then
Yeah.
Kwangu, and they're just kind of childish for adults. They really are, and I don't want to do any more. That's why I'm interested in this, because of, as you said, you are visiting or dealing with other countries, French-speaking countries, etc. And I know that they would enjoy that aspect. I just didn't know if it's too bookish or something. Right now, that's what I'm concentrating on, is comprehensible input, meaning we read and we listen.
Yeah. I think it depends on your students, of course, and you can maybe get their feedback after trying it out. But I know personally, I've enjoyed reading as a student myself of French, especially the upper level stories. They deal with more complex issues. Like I learned so much when we were developing those titles about countries that, I don't know enough about. So from my perspective, like personal perspective, I think they work for adults. But like, yes, you will have to kind of curate what you want them to see, because it was created for high school students too. So there are elements in all the titles that are more directed at that age. But I think if you just preview the stories ahead of time and sort of take the lead with your students, it can be successful.
And I had asked this question and I didn't really get an answer in an email, is what percentage of the stories do have audio? Because that's very important. I only meet with them once a week. So
Yeah.
I want
I'll
them
just-
to listen.
I think you actually, I think we were emailing. So let me,
Yes, I think so too. I recognize your name, Erin.
so I'm in Noche Spa 3, and I'll just show you on the table of contents that all of the short and long stories, so these all have audio. And you'll see the audio in most cases at the very bottom. And so that's, you know, like native speaker audio of someone reading the story. And then within activities, within those story sections, there will be some like this audio within the activities that they can listen to. When we were emailing, I know that you were looking at the embedded readings or articles, which are in
I
the
was,
extra
yes.
extra. And those don't have audio, only because their purpose just was a little bit more focused on reading. You know, they're like a little bit of the story in version A, more details in version B, and then the complete version in version C. And so they're just, you know, more leaning toward the reading side of things. But additional listening could be the interviews in some units, not that particular one. And yeah, like this. And there are other opportunities for listening throughout. So
Okay.
including here. So yeah, there's definitely lots of listening. And with any of the main core stories and the short and long story sections, those will have listening.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
And one more question. So a subscription is good for a year.
Yep.
And therefore, if there's some sort of a little hiatus, you just lose that time.
Well, I mean, we're pretty flexible. So you just email us and let us know what the situation is. And sometimes we can extend your access, but you won't lose anything if you edit or add students or anything like that. And it does lapse. When you renew, you get right back in the same account. So.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And thank you for joining us today.
Yeah. I'm sorry I was late. I was actually out shoveling snow. So
I'm from Michigan, and my snow just melted today, but I'm afraid it's going to come back. Where are you from?
It's Lake Placid in New York. And
Oh, okay.
we
Yeah.
just had a terrible storm yesterday. Really.
Yeah.
You know, a foot of snow, heavy wet. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the spring.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like 80 degrees this weekend.
Oh,
So
boy.
I don't even know. Well, before we leave, I just wanted to, again, just make light of the curriculum managers and how awesome they are and what great work they're doing and just how fun it is to work with them. And I just don't know how I did it before. And I love having you guys. So just thank you guys so much for all your work you've done. I see your titles, I see like your updates and everything that you guys are doing, and it's just spectacular. And I think, our teachers are enjoying it too. And to the teachers, like, thank you so much for coming here tonight. And please know that you can always reach out to any one of us, and we're more than happy to listen to your feedback and listen to your ideas and, just help you out in whatever ways you need. And, we appreciate you being here tonight, and we are going to be here every Wednesday at 6:30. So, stay tuned for more information on that.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Erin, for helping us wrap things up there. We are at time, so I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thanks again to Erin, to Hannah, to Melissa, and to everyone else who showed up. We'll be back again next week, as Erin mentioned, so stay tuned to our social media and to your emails if you're receiving our emails, and we'll make sure to pass along the information to you. But thank you all. Have a great night, and see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.